Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a live recording of a 50-minute full body flow. I used my strap a little bit today. Find some space to move as well, and let's get started.
We won't use our straps just yet, but you can have them off to the side. And we will start just sitting down. So any comfy seat that you'd like to find. Maybe we can start with our hands on the floor beside us or the fingertips. And you can let your eyes close. Take a slow, deep breath in and lengthen through your spine, and maybe take a nice little gentle press of the fingertips down into the ground. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Maybe you can take the bend out of your elbows just a touch more. Maybe that means you have to move your hands a little further away from you. Just taking a moment here. Just feel your fingertips lightly resting on the ground. Feel your sit bones, your feet, whatever is touching the ground, whatever parts of you are touching the ground. Just feel that connection. Maybe allowing everything else to get a bit lighter, a bit softer. And then we're just going to take a really big inhale and start to lift our hands up and reach our arms out wide. Maybe spread the fingertips wide. Keep reaching your arms up above your head. Once they get there, we might turn our thumbs to face forward so our palms are facing out. We might cross the right hand over the left one, bringing the palms together. And then just reaching your arms up above you, maybe on either side of your head. You're crossing your wrist here. You might just bend your arms a little bit, maybe reach up and look up and try to cross your hands the other way, maybe the left one over top of the right. Little press of the palms together and then just kind of squeeze your head. Reach your arms up, lengthen your spine. Stay for just a nice big inhale, and as you exhale, you can let your arms fall down all the way to your sides. Lightly rest your fingertips on the ground again. Maybe in a place where you can take the bend out of your elbows a little bit more. So you might have to move your hands a little further away. Lightly press into the fingertips. Maybe lengthen through the spine again. Just notice. Scan your body. Focus on your breath. Feel every part of you that's touching the ground get a little heavier. Maybe a gentle press into the ground. And maybe feel the rest of you get a little bit lighter, a little bit softer. Just taking another breath or two. You can start to open up your eyes. Maybe look down, maybe look forward. You might move your hands to your knees, and you might even add a shoulder roll in. Nice, slow, big shoulder roll once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. And then let's start to move into tabletop onto our hands and knees. So spreading your fingers out a little wider, maybe taking the hips for a little bit of a sway side to side. You can keep your fingers pointing forwards. We could start to make a half circle shape, kind of moving the shoulders side to side and a little bit back. Whatever feels good on your wrist, you can make a full circle if that feels good. Do a couple circles in one direction, a couple in the other. You might keep your fingers pointing forwards, staying here just a little longer. You could also turn your fingers out to the sides and maybe bring your palm or your wrists a little closer together. I guess your palms are coming closer together too. But the closer you bring your arms together, the more you might feel, and the smaller the movement or maybe the circle will get. So just optional to bring the hands closer together. Maybe they're staying under the shoulders. Maybe you don't want to sway here. A little side to side, a little half circle, a little full circle. A few in one direction, a few in the other. Just feel your fingers and your palms connecting, pressing into the ground. And then when you're ready to let that go, we will just come off of our hands for a moment. Maybe bring them back under the shoulders first. Maybe come up to standing on your knees or sit on your heels if you want to flick your fingers a few times, or make some fists and take some wrist circles, or maybe better yet, a little wrist massage. One hand then the other. You're feeling good through the wrists, the hands, maybe another flick of the fingers. You can bring them back down, back into your tabletop. We're just going to lift into downward dog just to transition to standing. So lift your knees up, but you can start to look forwards. Use an inhale and an exhale. Walk your feet up all the way to the top of your mat. Take an inhale to lift your chest halfway up, letting the hands lift off of the ground. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale to come all the way up to standing. Reach up, maybe look up, and exhale as you let your arms fall down to your sides. Roll your shoulders back and down. Take an inhale to reach up. As you exhale, fold forwards. Inhale to lift halfway. Maybe lightly rest your fingertips on your shins, on your knees, making your spine as long as it can be. Stay here in your half lift for another inhale. And then exhale to fold. Bend your knees, kind of round the spine a little as your upper body gets heavy. And then inhale, come all the way up to standing. Reach up. Exhale, let your arms lower down to your sides. Roll your shoulders back. Take a big inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold down. Inhaling for your half lift and holding it here for a couple breaths. So how long can you make your spine? Maybe lift your chest a little bit higher just to feel that nice length. Maybe a nice bend through the knees too. Take another inhale and an exhale to fold, relax, bend your knees and let your upper body get nice and heavy. Inhale to come all the way back up, reaching up. Exhale, let your arms fall down to your sides. One more shoulder roll here, and then inhale to reach up. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale into your half lift. We won't hold it here. Let the exhale fold you forwards all the way to plant our hands, stepping back into downward facing dog. Take a breath here, a deep inhale, a deep exhale. Let your hips get higher, your chest get heavy. Maybe pedal the feet. Maybe bend the knee. Find your breath. Pushing into the hands, lengthening through the arm. Let's use another inhale to look forwards again. As you exhale, you can come all the way up to the top of your mat. Walk your feet as many little steps as you'd like. Once you get there, inhale for a half lift and exhale to fold. We're going to plant our hands and our left foot is going to come back into a lunge. So we're going to bring our knee down as well. You can even rest on the top of the back foot. You might roll your mat over if you want some extra cushion under your knee, but sinking your hips forward, sinking your hips down. Feel that nice hip flexor. Take just one more breath. Then let's send our hips back, lengthening through the fronts of the leg, maybe pressing the ball of the foot and the toes down, a little half split. We're going to use an inhale to come back for the lunge. So bending into the front knee. Staying here for a few breaths. If you want to keep your knee down, keep it down. If you want to tuck your toes and lift your knee, you can tuck your toes and lift your knee. But still sinking into the hips, keeping the chest low, the hands on the ground. But if you lift your knee, wake up that leg, give that glute a little bit of a squeeze maybe. Then we're going to be sending our hips back again. You can have your knee down or you can have your knee lifted. So just see how far you can get, how much that leg wants to lengthen. If you've got that back knee lifted, a lot harder to do. Push into the ball of the foot. And then use an inhale just to bend back into the front knee, back into your lunge. You might lift your knee now, you might not. But take an inhale to look forwards. Exhale, bring your back foot to the top of your mat. Take an inhale to lift halfway up. And exhale to fold all the way down. Plant your hands and step back and into your downward facing dog. Here for a few breaths. Let your hips go higher, your chest get heavy. Push into your hand. And take the bend out of your elbow. Breathe a little bit deeper. Awesome work, you guys. Use an inhale to look forward. Exhale, walk up to the top of your mat. Once you get there, inhale for a half lift. Exhale, folding, planting our hands and taking just the right foot back. We'll start with the knee down. Maybe it stays down. But you could rest on the top of the foot if you'd like. Maybe roll your mat over for some extra cushion. Sinking into the hips. Breathe. One more inhale. The exhale, can you start to send the hips back? Lengthen the front leg a little. Your half split. And maybe pushing the foot down, the toes down. Feel the sensations through the legs. Using an inhale, we're going to bend back into the front knee, back into our lunge. Maybe you're keeping your knee down again. Maybe you're going to lift it up and squeeze that glute a little. Wake up the leg a little. Keep your chest low. Still sinking into the hips. Stay for an inhale. As you exhale, we can start to send the hips back and lengthen the front leg. Feel free to drop your knee now if it's lifted. Or maybe just see how far you want to go. Press your left foot into the ground. Let's use another inhale to bring us back into our lunge. Bend the knee again. Take another inhale to look forward. Exhale, bring your back foot to the top of your mat. As you inhale, lift your chest halfway up. Exhale, folding forwards, planting your hands, step all the way back and into downward facing dog. Pushing into your hands, letting your hips be nice and high. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Awesome, you guys. Let's use an inhale, look forwards, and exhale, walk up to the top of your mat. Inhale into a half lift, and exhale to fold forwards. Let's plant our hands again. Our left foot's gonna come back, but this time let's keep the knee lifted. Drop the heel and start to lift up and into warrior two. So adjust your stance if you need. Widen the feet a little bit, perhaps. Bend into the front knee, strong through the back leg. We can add our arms, one in front, one behind if you'd like. Maybe try to take a shoulder roll. Spread your fingers wide and press your feet into the ground. So maybe we can keep our arms reaching out. And maybe we can straighten our front leg. Push into the feet, lengthening through both of the legs, and we'll just let our upper body stay as it is. Slowly bend into the front knee again, as much as it wants to bend. Let your shoulders stay soft. Maybe still spreading your fingers wide, feel your legs. As you inhale, let's straighten that front leg one more time. Press into the feet, maybe a little shoulder roll. Awesome, you guys. Slowly bending back into the front knee, your warrior two. One more deep breath in. And then as you exhale, we're going to bring our hands down. You might cartwheel, kind of tip down forwards. Let your back heel lift too, so that maybe you can end up in a lunge. And then with an inhale, look forwards. And exhale, bring your back foot to the top of your mat. Take an inhale for a half lift. Exhale to fold. Plant your hands. Take both of your feet back into downward facing dog. If you want a moment in tabletop instead of downward dog, you can drop to the knees. You let your chest get a little heavier though, maybe. A quick pedal through the feet or be still. Push the ground away. Let's use an inhale, looking forwards, and exhale to walk up towards the top of the mat. Inhaling for a half lift, and exhale to fold forwards. Plant our hands. The right foot's going to come back. Drop the heel down. Keep your knee lifted, and then start to lift up and into your warrior two. Adjust your feet so you're nice and balanced. A little bend through the front knee. You can reach your arms out. Maybe spread the fingers. Maybe try to take that shoulder roll. You might be looking forward, or it might feel better to look towards the right side. Feel your legs. Give your glutes a little bit of a squeeze. And then let's start to slowly straighten our front leg. Push into the feet. Awesome, right, you guys. Let's let our upper body stay as best we can as it is. And we're just simply bending into the front knee again. Maybe a little more, maybe a little bit more. Then an inhale, lengthen the front leg again. Press into the feet. Maybe another little shoulder roll. And then bending into that front knee one more time. Maybe a little more. Let's take one more inhale. As you exhale, bring your hands down to the ground as gracefully as you're able. Maybe that back heel's lifting. Once you're in a lunge, though, if you can take another inhale to look forwards and exhale, bring your back foot to the top of your mat. Inhale into a half lift. And exhale to fold. Let's plant our hands, step back into downward facing dog. But this time, maybe we'll come down into child's pose. So you can lower your knees. Bring them out wide, big toes together. Send your hips back. Melt it down. Relax your arms and shoulders. Rest your forehead. Soften your belly. Feel your breath. Feel free to stay a little bit longer. You are ready to come up. Find tabletop first. So bring your knees in. Maybe give your hips a little bit of a sway, side to side. And then you can either sit on the heels or maybe stand on your knees. But we're just going to have our arms at our sides, reaching them out wide and up above us. And then maybe your right hand can hold your left wrist. And we can take a little bit of a side stretch. Pull your belly button in a little, a gentle pull on your hand, maybe to create some space in that wrist joint. Use an inhale to come back through center. Maybe switch, hold the right hand with the left one. Take a lean over to the other side. A little pull, a little side stretch. And then letting an inhale bring you back. Your arms can fall to your sides. You might want to shoulder roll, and you can bring your hands to the ground. We're gonna take a seat with our legs out in front of us. If you have a strap to use today or something to make your arms longer, we can use it. Just optional. But we're going to be finding a half strap, maybe with the left leg out wide, out to the sides. Right leg bent in front of us. If you want to use your strap, you can hook your strap onto your foot, or you can just point your toes up without using the strap. But you might start, we'll keep our chest facing forwards. You might start, if you've got your strap, holding it with just your left hand as close to your foot as your arm wants to lengthen, your hand wants to go. Use your other hand maybe on the floor around you to support you. Sitting tall here. You can stay sitting tall. You could tip straight forwards a little bit and then just notice the bend of the elbow. As the elbow maybe bends a little, maybe you can tighten up your grip a little bit. Maybe your hand's on your leg, maybe you're holding a strap, and you might have to keep tightening up to take the bend of the elbow. As you lower a little more, your hand might end up on your foot, your big toe, or nowhere near it. Just feel the nice inner leg stretch. Maybe you're tipping forward. Maybe you have to tighten your grip up again, taking the bend of that elbow a little bit more. And then we can slowly start to lift back up. You could drop the strap for a moment. You can bend your elbows as much as you want to now. But we're going to keep our leg out to the side. Now, if you've got a strap to use, we're going to use it again. But we're going to be turning the chest a little bit to the right and then reaching the right arm up above us and maybe over a little bit. So you don't have to use your strap. But if you've got a pretty long one, you might be able to hold it. Might want to hook it just under the ball of the foot, but then our arm kind of has to lift up and over the head. So depending on how long your strap is, take a little turn of the chest away from your foot with the strap or the leg that's out long. Use your other hand to push into it a little to keep your chest lifted. And then you kind of have to play with it. Your grip on your strap, where you're holding your strap, so that maybe you can take the bend out of your elbow. Maybe you can feel a nice side stretch here. And if the strap is just kind of in the way, you don't have to use it. Take another breath in this side stretch. Use an inhale to lift you back up. You can let your arm kind of fall in front of you if you're holding your strap. You can drop your strap. You can maybe take a little shoulder roll. We are going to be just switching sides, starting with just bringing our legs back together though. And you want to just hug your knees. Maybe take a rock side to side, just reset. The right leg though, the other leg can start to go out wide. And your left leg in front of you, maybe pointing the toes up. If you want to add your strap, we can add our strap. Maybe holding on, just the right hand this time, just the hand that's closest to the foot. Maybe taking the bend of the elbow as best we can, or you don't have to worry about that part, but sometimes it's a nice little forearm and wrist strap. Take another breath, lengthen your spine, maybe press your free hand into the ground a bit. Feel the length through the leg, maybe that arm. You might stay seated nice and tall. You might start to slowly tip as the elbow bends. You might walk your hand a little closer to your foot. And just see how low you want to go. Now, if you are folding forwards, you can slowly lift again. All the way until you're sitting nice and tall. And we're just going to turn the chest to the left a little bit, so away from our long straight leg. If you want to use your strap, we'll use our strap, but that left arm could also just reach out to the side, up above you. You can lean over a little, push into the right hand, the one that's still on the ground. Sometimes this is a great side stretch without the strap. Sometimes it's a little different in a good way, but totally up to you. Just take a moment to hold your strap in a way that you feel good with. Kind of take the bend out of the elbow a little, but of course it's probably bent a touch. And then push your other hand into the ground a little to keep the chest open, maybe even looking up. Nice work, you guys. Let an inhale, bring you slowly back up out of side stretch. If you're using your strap, you could take it off your foot or just drop it for now. But lift back up, and then let's bring our leg back in. Give your knees a hug or a squeeze, maybe a rock side to side. Now we're going to come back over into tabletop. So on our hands and knees, don't need the strap right now, so you can take it, move it off to the side. But find your tabletop. Maybe give your hips a little bit of a sway side to side. Then we're going to reach our arms forwards in front. We're going to come straight down in our puppy dog stretch. Let's start with the palms facing down, the fingers spread wide, so nothing fancy. Just let the chest and the head start to get heavy. Feel the length through the arms, the shoulders. Breathing softly. Using an inhale to slowly lift back up. Now we can keep our hands the exact same, or we can lift the left hand, bring the thumb towards the ground and start to rotate the hand, the arm, the shoulder, trying to get that palm to face up. And slowly maybe lower back down or stay lifted. And then you can slowly lift if you did lower, and gentle as you turn your palm back to face down. And then maybe your right hand can lift a little. Trace your thumb along the ground. Turn the palm to face out to the side and then up a little. Rotating that shoulder inward slightly, but you can stay lifted, or the chest might be able to dip down a little bit. And then you're slowly just going to lift right back up. Take your hand, turn it to face down one more time. Regroup, spread the fingers wide, both palms facing down. Let your chest get heavier one more time in your puppy dog stretch. Take another breath or two. And then letting an inhale lift you back up. And walking your hands back towards the shoulders. If you want to lift up off of the hands, off of the arms, stand on the knees, sit on the heels. Shoulder roll might feel good. Maybe even some finger flicks or some fists with some wrist circles. Or maybe even a wrist massage and some circles. Now we're going to sit back down. Legs out in front again. So we're going to do that same side stretch, half straddle. However, you could find a full straddle. I'm going to do the full straddle. If you want to do half a straddle, send your left leg out first. If you're going to be using your strap, you can place it on your foot. Now doing this twice, one on each side. So if you're in the full straddle, you'll get a little more. But hold your strap maybe, trying to take the bend out of the elbow. Maybe stay sitting tall. Nice long spine, maybe a little tip forward so we won't stay quite as long. Maybe you have to adjust your grip where you're holding your strap. Maybe pointing the toes up. And if you are folding forwards, you could start to lift back up again. Now we're going to turn our chest a little bit, so away from the leg with the strap. So if your left leg's out, turn your chest towards the right a little. Option to use the strap for that same side stretch that we had. Your left hand, if it's on the ground, maybe you're pushing into it. Maybe you're tipping a little more. Maybe the forearm can come to the ground. Some point you might decide that the strap is too long, you don't want to use it, or you could take some time to tighten it up. But reaching, lengthening through that lifted arm, that right arm. Nice side stretch. With your toes up. Let's use a nice big inhale to lift again. Come out of your side stretch. Recenter yourself. You can stay in the wide straddle if you've got both legs out. You can switch legs if you've got one out. Maybe take a nice hug of your knees to your chest. first. Maybe even a little rock or sway side to side. Once you have your other leg out though, you're going to use your strap, add your strap to your other foot. Maybe hold on to it in a way to take the bend of the elbow a little bit. Lengthening through the spine, maybe stay sitting tall, maybe tipping forwards a little. Maybe moving your hand closer to your foot. Holding forward, you can use an inhale to lift again. Turn the chest a little bit towards the left, away from your leg. Use your strap if you want, or skip that part. Lifting your left arm out to the side, up above you though. Take a little tip to the side. Maybe push your hand into the ground, keeping the chest lifted. Maybe you're able to go a little further. A side stretch. Feels nice. On the legs, on the whole body. Guys, let a big inhale bring you all the way back up. Now we can bring our legs together again and maybe take a nice little hug or squeeze. Maybe a rock side to side. You can stay seated a little longer, hugging your knees. You want to lay down on your back. You can start to lay down. You don't need your strap. But you might want to hug your knees into your chest. Or keep your feet on the ground. Maybe you want to rock side to side. Maybe you just want to be still. Just notice how your legs feel. Your hips. Your spine. You're still swaying side to side. You can slow that movement down. We're going to let our feet come to the ground if they're lifted up. Maybe we can scooch our feet a little closer towards our hips. Planting the heels. Pressing into the toes a little bit. And then taking an inhale to lift the hips up. You can have your arms beside you on the ground. Lift the hips, squeeze the glutes. Maybe you'll lift your heels and come onto the balls of the feet. Maybe not. Lifting the chest a little bit too. Your shoulders are feeling it. You could interlace your fingers underneath you. Tuck the shoulders under the chest a little bit more. Lifting the hips a little bit higher in your bridge. You did pop up onto the balls of the feet. Maybe try to bring your heels back down, but try to let the rest of your body stay as it is. Stay as high as it is. Take one more full breath, followed by an inhale. Use the exhale to slowly lower down. You might keep your heels on the ground. You might pop them back up, connecting your low back to the ground, maybe adding a gentle sway of the knees side to side. You might stay on the balls of the feet or the heels. You might also try to rest on the top of the toes of maybe one foot at a time, maybe both. You are doing one foot though, you could switch sides. So heels lifted and then trying to rest on the top of the toes. For a nice foot stretch or skipping this part. Do you have your toes curled? It's quite a nice stretch sometimes. Stay a little longer if you want to, or you can bring your feet flat to the ground again. Give the toes a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a wiggle. You can keep your feet on the ground, or you could hug your knees to your chest again. Maybe adding a gentle sway side to side. And if you're holding on to your legs, maybe we can tuck our hands behind the quads. And maybe we can let our calves, our lower legs kind of rest on top of our hands. Give the hand a little hug with the legs. And then you can keep hugging or hugging your hands or keeping your hands behind your quads tucked in here. Or maybe you like to hold on to the top of the shins, the top of the knees. Maybe you're able to interlace your fingers, wrapping your arms around your legs. As you interlace your fingers, you might feel a little pull on them, a little lengthen, a little stretch. You have your fingers interlaced on top of your knees, on top of your legs. Maybe you can bring them back between the legs, so behind the quads, under the calves, a little hug of the hand. And then we're just gonna bring our arms to the ground, maybe reaching them out a little wider. And you could just take a gentle sway of the knees side to side. And if your feet are still lifted, maybe you can slowly bring them back down with just a very smooth, slow sway. Maybe you need your hands, your arms to help. But slowly lower your feet all the way to the ground. Once they get close, if the low back's starting to lift, try to squeeze it down. Pick up your belly, your core. But eventually the feet will touch. And maybe you sway the knees side to side just a few extra times. You start to extend your legs out long. Your feet out wide. And if you have your arms out really wide too, you might leave them there. Or you might bring them a little bit closer, but maybe your hands can be off of your mat still. Letting your palms face up. Close your eyes. Feel every part of you that's touching the ground. The top half of your body. Maybe feel a little bit lighter. And to let go of any effort that you're putting into your breath. Find some stillness. Enjoy your Shavasana. And slowly deepen the breath. Try to move your body a little bit. Maybe reaching your arms above your head. Big stretch. Bending your knees. Rolling over when you're ready. Finding your way up to seated. And bring some length into your spine. Move your hands together. One more deep breath in. And out. Awesome practice, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of the day. Namaste.